Okay, here we go. Let me know if there's any technical difficulties, and let me know if the audio is good or not. But yeah, King Iopa, third person to get a no death in Streets of Rage 2 on the Mania difficulty. He did it with Axel. We're just jumping right into this. Grabs the one up. Pretty normal stuff. Yeah, good grouping. I mean, just probably the best grouper in the entire Streets of Rage 2 community, King Iopa. Like, that's the efficiency he has when he's grouping guys. This kind of stuff here, his ability to just group everybody all together there, is really unmatched. It's I think Skate was your first that you were doing a one credit on Mania with, and I really saw like the talent there for grouping just immediately while you were playing with Skate. Yeah, I mean, I remember back in the day I made a prediction that King Iopa was going to be like the next really good Streets of Rage 2 player. So, I don't know. It's nice. It feels good being right, you know? It feels good. But yeah, just like spectacular grouping, outlandishly good timing on the punches. I mean, it's just like, what's up, Subsonic? Yeah, Skate was your first 1cc. Yeah, I really thought like when I saw your Skate playing, like this is the beginning of somebody who really has the ability to do a spectacular job in this game. Yeah. Also, I mean, the first levels usually get run pretty fast, even in a no-death run. We just run the first levels, like, because, you know, they're the first levels and you get very accustomed and used to running them fast and getting through them without getting killed. It's not too big of a deal. It's better just to get through those first 3 levels relatively quickly. But King Iopa doesn't really slow down at any point. So when we start getting into the like later levels, I can start explaining why his Axel run is so fast. His Axel run is for no death is faster than my max run for no death. My max run, I think, was a this game nights long instead of sleeping like normal people do. But yeah, your Axel run is faster than my max run is for the no death. Is the volume too low on the game? I could always turn it up if it is, but if it sounds good, then I won't. And first levels are kind of just, they're just default. It's like, just get me through these levels so I can actually get to. Really, 4 is the first time, and especially 4 elevators, the first time where you start feeling like, okay, now the game's actually started and these are the levels I have to actually get through. This is where there's a huge risk of me getting killed over and over again while I'm playing the game. Then once you get through 4 through 6 and you get into 7 elevator, now the actual game has started and now you have to get through 7 elevator. And if you don't, you know, that's really where the run killer. Most runs that have a, you know, when you actually have a chance of getting a run, you're dead on 7. And 8 ain't no joke either. See if I can turn it up a little bit without it getting too loud. That should be better. And then there's Axel's famous punch combo. Yeah, you slow down only if necessary. I was starting to adopt some of that a little bit, but with max, I was running pretty much as fast as I could. Certain spots I would slow down a little bit in 1 through 3, and then on 4 I was running it pretty fast as well. And then I would slow down on 4 at the baseball diamond, where the two fat guys are, I would always slow down there because I just didn't want to mess up and take a death there. It's a little bit easier maintaining them with Axel than it is with Max, the two fat guys. But still, it's like, it's one of those things where, you know, if I just pushed for it, I would have gotten used to it and had very little deaths there, but I just decided it's better for me to slow down in certain spots. Yeah, one of the downsides to playing with Max is you're going to get hit more often, so your health management is tougher, and it's harder to get to the apples and turkeys, or chickens. Oh, there's the barb and throw. You're so like a machine at this game, yeah. Yeah, you just got to the point where you were a machine at the game. It makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense. You know, you develop strats for how you should be playing as well as you're going along and as you're developing in it, and the more runs you can put in, the better. So you really want to be able to put in as many runs as possible, but at the same time you don't want to be putting in as many runs as possible that are ending on 4 because you're just not 100% when it comes to this section, so it's better to slow down at that section. I mean, you could always put practice into it, but I was putting 0 practice into levels 1 through 6. And 100% of my practice was going into 7 elevator and level 8. So it's like, and it's just, it made it scary because I would go a whole week without playing levels 1 through 6. And then have to get used to it. But I don't know, were you... yeah, King Iopa, were you... Like, tell us a little bit about your strategy for how you were getting better at the game. Were you just putting full runs in, or were you actually practicing 7 elevator? Were you practicing 8 at all? Like, how many runs did you put in prior to getting this run? Or was it that you were just speed running it and then you switched? Stay so you can see me try and mess up this run. Yeah, I got to the point where I knew how to despawn the 2 bikers with Axel. I don't know if I do it in my run or not, but then I think I lost it because it's just different with every character, your timing and your positioning. And anyway, I kind of do that too, where I just lose it. I have to actually relearn stuff a lot, which is annoying. But yeah, it is a good idea to learn how to despawn those 2 bikers, especially if you have a little bit of health. There's the skip of the 1-up. Faster to skip it on a no death run, it doesn't really matter whether you grab it or not, so. But on level 1, he grabs it just because positioning wise, you want to just grab it, get it out of the way, get into position, group all the gals, he doesn't kill everybody, which is exactly what he does. Yeah, good timing, you know, I mean, just really good timing. That mix of just being extremely patient, then also being very aggressive, is one of the hardest parts about this game. Learning how to do that. Learning how to be like, I'm going to be super aggressive, get an outlandishly fast backwards jump off, you know, land on the guy, and then just wait for the other guy to come sliding in or come moving in so I can get them both in on it. Very difficult to do. Grabs the stuff, gets it out of the way. You can see him do that defensive special, and that's to make sure that his grand upper is cleared. Was that intentional? I did very little practice using save states, mainly. Yeah, learning setups for 7 elevator and Mr. X fight. Other than that, I was just always putting runs on the game and tried to learn from mistakes that got me killed. Yeah. What do you mean? It's one of the funniest parts of this game. Was that jet fight intentional? Where you pulled the other jet and then got the other jet to slam kill his friend. But yeah, look at this, like the grouping, great grouping, and then into patience and just waiting. You know that Biker's got the pipe, takes him a little bit longer to wind back and get the hit off. And King Iopa just times it perfectly. Just really, yeah, this is it. Best grouper. The best, most efficient player, probably, ever. King Iopa on this game. I don't know if we're going to see somebody who does a better job than King Iopa does when it comes to grouping enemies and just being outlandishly efficient with movement when it comes to it. Just look at just this kind of stuff. Just spectacular grouping. A great understanding of the game and what's going to happen. You know, you're going to grab a guy, you're going to do your knee, and then you do the knee, and now the other guy gets in on it, so you let go because it's a glitch. It's basically using a glitch in your favor, where just the game makes you let go of the enemy. It's the same thing happens in Streets 3 as well. And just, yeah, using that to your favor to be outlandishly efficient with the kills. Yeah, this is a, that jet death was awesome, yeah. Yeah, and then this happens too. Where, and it's hard to gauge this stuff. You get that signal, the other signal's in your back, and you're just punching the one dude hoping the other guy loops around or comes at you, or you can get him in on it, and he just doesn't do it, and it's hard to know, like, how long do I wait for this guy to get in on it, to how quickly do I just get the kill off on this guy so I can move on to the next guy. And sometimes it works in your favor, where waiting is the right move, and other times it works against you, where waiting is the wrong move, and there's no way to tell. Like, you can't actually do anything about it. The only thing you could do is the Jimmy Jake shuffle, where you're just punching and moving up a little bit, and punching and moving down a little bit, because movement causes the guys to come at you. But sometimes that doesn't work either. Or it causes something bad to happen. Yeah, good timing getting in between those Donovan punches. Yeah, having one dude in the punch spam, that's whatever. You get used to it. Once you get used to punch spamming a guy, you kind of have it. You don't mess it up too much once you get used to the timing. Getting used to the timing of grabbing one guy in the punch spam, and then getting another guy in on it is very tricky, and it's an on-the-spot type of thing, depending on how fast the guy's moving, where you are in your punch spam, and anytime somebody gets it, it's impressive. Now, when you're getting two of them in it, and then a third guy comes in and you get him, that's a little bit more difficult. And then when you got three and the fourth guy comes in, and like you just see King Iopa pulling it off non-stop. So he's just, yeah, his punch spam ability is just, he just has a lot of his skill in this game is just off the hook. It's just off the hook good. It's one of those things where people, if you're watching it and you don't realize how difficult it is to do some of this stuff. That was cool. Grand upper Donovan. Iframes dodge the whip. Yeah, just and then, smartly uses defensive special to dodge the knife. Gets the kill off. Yeah. Another thing is King Iopa doesn't punch spam that much, like where you could just punch spam Jack to death. King Iopa will actually do like punches into grand uppers, so he doesn't like the boring stuff. It's like it can be boring to just punch spam multiple bars of health off of an enemy. It's much more fun to just do grand uppers or forward specials or whatever else. So you'll usually see that. You'll usually see like punch spams more for just grouping enemies, and then once everyone's in on it, now like let's get grand uppers off. So like, yeah, lots of action. Very, very action-packed player. Must have been known to Electra, so I was going into that section kind of scared. Yeah. Here's the world-famous Vihilits. Yeah. So whereas, like, Jet is a flying enemy, but is actually on a level, as indicated by his shadow, like where he is on the vertical, Vihilits doesn't actually function in that way. Vihilits is more like a, like, I think of Vihilits more as a 2D object that moves up and down the screen, as opposed to a, like, 3D object that's moving, like, more vertically, if that makes sense. You know, like Axel can't hit this ninja per se if Axel's not on the ninja's level, whereas Vihilits doesn't actually have a level. And then I'm assuming this is an accident pulling boss with the guy, but it wasn't too big of a deal. And then we just go into setup. After you get the uppercut, you just go into your setup, down knee, yeah, into a forward special, or you can go down knee, you know, into like a couple punches, into a grab, really whatever you want to do to get the kill off, but this is going to do it, so. Nice. Yeah, there's always something that goes wrong in this game, and then it's, can you recover or not? So here we're actually going into one of the levels where there's a chance that no matter how hard you try or how well you're playing, you can potentially just get killed on it. And level 4 is one of those levels because of the elevator. We've come up with good strats and good setups, but it still can just kind of do whatever it wants to do, because there's just too many loose variables with the enemies all over the place, all getting dropped in at once, so yeah. So yeah, that last section, going fast on that is kind of normal. Let's see how fast he takes this section. So this section, this is actually King Iopa slowing down a little bit here. And this is completely normal as well. You can just push forward all the way to the samurai dropping down, but your chances of losing just way too much health during something like that is a little bit higher than you want it to be. And you do want to have full health going into 4 elevator, so you want at least half your health leaving this section. Whew. Good recovery there. What's up? Yeah, some Sonics pulling to do baseball. Yeah, here's a section where just pulling everybody can be normal as well. Depending on where your health is, if it's full, pulling everybody really isn't too big of a deal. I mean, at least not like when you're one of the top players, it isn't. Like, you're gonna get through it without losing too much. And then the next section, you get some little guys leading into the Electra section. Kind of curious how he handles the Electra. See, it's like I've seen this, but I don't fully remember like the exact movements. Showing off with some backwards jumps. Yeah. You can probably get by playing Mania without knowing how to backwards jump, but you really want to know how to backwards jump to play Mania properly. Like, you really want to learn how to backwards jump. Yeah. One of the weird things about Axel's setup here is most everybody else's setup for them, you're actually doing something. You're like jump kicking or down hitting. With Axel, you're just jumping towards them, and for some reason they miss you. You can do that with the other characters too, just jump towards the Electras and they miss you, but for Axel, that is his actual setup for them, is just jump towards them, they miss them, and then you can just punch spam. So, always fun, yeah. And, you know, I mean, really, I think King iOpa's the most entertaining Axel player as well, just to watch, because he doesn't really do a whole lot of slowing down. Here's one of the sections where I would actually slow down, because just too many times I would lose health on these fat guys, and but King iOpa doesn't like to slow down, and it's not a bad idea to do this when you have it in your head that you might go Blaze next, because with Blaze you're gonna have to be playing aggressively because she's too slow, and you're not gonna get enough runs in with how slow she is to get the kills off. Yeah, the grouping is he's just incredible at grouping. Like, his ability to group guys and to be efficient is incredible. Yeah, I'm like outlandishly jealous. But yeah, when you're talking about, like, you know, let's just say the 3 No Death players, which is me, Gale Dog, and King iOpa, you actually have 3 players who are achieving a No Death with 3 different skill sets. Once again, you know, using the mechanics of the game and grouping just, like, in a way that's so phenomenally good. But yeah, like Gale Dog's the most mechanical player. He's the best at finding a strat and then executing that strat properly time after time. Super mechanical. I wish I was mechanical like Gale Dog. King iOpa is outlandishly efficient and really good with grouping. I mean, just so good at it. It's ridiculous. And what I'm good at is screaming my head off. That's where I excel. That's how I got it done. What I'm good at is improving. So things going bad and then improving my way out of it to a degree where, to everybody, including really good players, it looks like luck because I'm so good at it. That's really where my skill set is, or at least, like, as far as our talents go, that's where, like, that's where they lie. Let's see where the punch spamming. See, this is going to be a punch spam boss kill here. But yeah, it is. You know, and I mean, my approach, because I do improv so much, and it is outlandishly helpful to be improvisational in this game, I assumed the players that weren't able to improv as well wouldn't be able to no death this game. And Gale Dog being just a, like, solid tactician and a solid mechanical player proved me wrong, which was really cool to see. And I was like, okay, cool, that's awesome. Other people with totally different styles of, like, play are going to be able to crush this. And it's, you know, because it's like, you don't know, you're playing, you know, you're basing things off of ignorance until somebody just proves you wrong. Like, you're basing it off of your own experience. But King iOpa's pretty good at improving as well. He's got that going for him too. I mean, all 3 players are good at it. It's just like we're all good at the different, obviously, each other's strengths. It's just that all 3 are better at this particular thing than the other. So level 5 is a nightmare level. Level 5 is one of those levels where when you're first playing on Mania and you're good enough to kind of get your 1 credit, level 5 is your run killer. Like, 7 is an obvious run killer. And 8 is an obvious run killer, but level 5, between the 3 non-impossible, you know, the 3, like, levels that are impossible, but, like, not crazy impossible. Like, 7 and 8 are, like, crazy impossible, and then 4, 5, and 6 are just impossible. And this is where you're going to have a run where you do, like, a no death on it, and you're like, cool, and then your next run, you're gonna die, like, 6 times. And yeah, and you're not going to have that problem with 4 and 6 when you get good at 4 and 6 to the same degree that you have with 5. So 5 is super scary. If you do 5 even a little bit incorrectly, the amount of deaths that you take is going to just be massive. And if you do it even a little bit incorrectly, it's very hard to not take a death. And when you're going for a no death, yeah, this one's a little intimidating. You get used to the procedure though. So for me, like 6 became the scariest level because I can't control that ninja section at the beginning of 6, and we'll see it. And once it gets out of control, I actually get killed to the game's frame rate issues. But oh man, whew! Smart cutting through that with the forward special. Yeah, getting pummeled like that, I don't think you're going to be able to get a grand upper in, but the forward special cut through it. Here's fast Barbin strat. Barbin can block, then you break his block. If you grab Barbin and just do your kind of grab combo with the double knee at the end, it breaks his block, and then you basically just have a wide open Barbin kill. Same thing with Zamza, works in a similar fashion. Here's where we come up on our first really scary section on 5, where you do not want to be pulling all the jets at once. You just want to be pulling one at a time. Yeah. Into a punch spam, which is dangerous and scary, but it is the most efficient way of killing them. And if you're used to it, it's not that bad. Yeah, a lot of comfort with the punch spamming, and a lot of comfort with the backwards jumping. That's like, you're seeing somebody who's so comfortable punch spamming and so comfortable backwards jumping. There just isn't, like, it's like breathing, you know. Like, I would assume King Iopa punch spams and backwards jumps better than he walks, you know? Like, his ability to walk, he's not as good at walking as he is at doing this stuff. And that can just take years sometimes to just get that comfortable doing something where you're not really thinking about it, and it just is a second nature type thing. You know, I mean, yeah, just straight up into a backwards jump, no problem. No problem. Yeah, high risk, high reward. If you're, you know, comfortable with it, you get used to the timing. It's your preferred strat. Yeah, you know, it's not that big of a deal to be doing stuff that's risky, because if you miss your punch on a jet, he's gonna grab you instantly, and now you got a loose jet, and that right there, like, you get knocked into all the other jets. That right there is pretty much game over. You got to do a reset, unless you just miracle your way through it. Yeah, stage 5 is where you need to start learning a procedure, in that you're pulling guys one at a time, then you're dealing with them in a very specific way too. The way could be different, like stylistically or strat-wise, but for the most part, you're gonna pull one jet, you're gonna try and get them on one side, and then you're going to deal with them in that fashion, either by having a Superman punch towards you, or doing quick kills on them with punch spams or atomic drops or whatever else, you know, which character you're playing with. And I mean, even this section, you're pulling all the little Galzias one at a time. There's like 5 of them that come. And then once you get done with that, now you're pulling these guys, and then you'll get the fat guy next, and then, you know, I don't know if he throws sword here to pull both fat guys. I can't remember. But yeah, there's a procedure. There's just a procedure to playing 5 that you want to stick to. And, you know, when you start playing at like a really high level, you also want to be able to get through fights even when things go a little bit off. But it's not a guarantee. No matter how good you get, it's never a guarantee you're going to get through pulling all 3 jets. Most likely, you're not going to get through it. It's just too dang difficult and too random. Yeah, I mean, it's just... The game's just crazy. It's just crazy, but that's what I like about it. Boom. Get that guy killed. And then we got, what, 4 little guys coming? Yeah. The first Big Ben has 2 Galzia spawns afterwards, and the second Big Ben has 4. We decided to back off, and that gave me advantage over him. Yeah, that stuff happens too. You're not gonna see... You're gonna see trolling, obviously, from the enemies. Where you're going to be like, why is this guy just standing there, like, not coming at you? Why is this guy backing off of you when he shouldn't? Why is this guy coming towards you when he shouldn't? Or at least when you don't expect him to. But really what you're always going to see, always, is trolling from Mr. X. And it's really difficult because you have to play outlandishly aggressively with Mr. X. And then there's brief periods in there where you have to completely switch gears to passive. Yeah, once you get Bear by himself, it's not a problem. This right here is usually where... This is like a run killer section as well. Right here at the ninja section. I don't know if King Iopa was trying to get both ninjas in on the punch spam at the beginning, and they just decided that they didn't... That top one decided, I don't feel like going in there. Or if this is just your normal setup and you just kind of wing it, which is also a possibility. And if you're just comfortable winging it, and it's a lot easier with Axel, like if you mess up in this section or if you got loose ninjas, because Axel's a stationary fighter, and the difficult part about this section is when you're moving forward, you're pulling more guys, which makes the section more and more difficult. But Axel's really good at just standing in place and handling enemies. So the ninjas may be jumping around doing their thing, and with the other characters, you have to go towards the ninjas most of the time in order to get them. With Axel, you just wait for them to come at you, and you've got like an overpowered move, the Grand Upper, that'll be able to deal with them very easily and maintain their position. Smooth Bear, yeah. There's the 3-punch Grand Upper. So yeah, like a punch Grand Upper or a 2-punch Grand Upper does more damage than a 3-punch Grand Upper. The 3rd punch activates a glitch, which causes your Grand Upper to do half damage. There's a couple moves that do this. Your back attack will do it. If you do a back attack, knock a guy over, then have a guy come at you, and then you Grand Upper, you'll do a half Grand Upper. I think some of Axel's throws, I don't remember which throw. I don't think it's both his throws, like his over the back throw or his loop around slam down. I don't remember which one, but anyway, one of his throws activates it as well, so you're kind of trying to avoid that. Then here we're just moving into a really specific position, pulling the kickboxer. Yeah. You can let the kickboxer just knee right into you, and then you'll get free punch spam. Or if you're comfortable, you can be doing this Grand Uppering, like King Iopa is, but you have to let him get outlandishly close to you, because the ones coming from the left, they got to get so close that when you Grand Upper, they're not going outside a screen and you can still hit them. And that's a little scary. Too scary for my taste, but it's good to know that strat in case your health is so low you don't have a choice but to use it. And here's King Iopa actually using a punch spam on an enemy. It's always fun to watch. And then he just pulls, you know, he doesn't even like... Yeah, he doesn't really wait for the... No killing of the signals first. Just straight pulling with the samurai. That's a little scary. But if you get used to it and you're comfortable with it and you're confident that even if things go a little bit bad, it's not gonna necessarily end your run, then yeah, this is the kind of stuff that happens. Nice. Into the backwards. Into the backwards. Yeah, very comfortable with the backwards jumps. Very comfortable with them. Yeah. Here's another section where King Iopa is taking his time. He's pulling, just getting those bikers first, keeping these fat guys one at a time. This section is pretty easy when you're doing it like this, and really, really difficult when you're pulling like both fat guys and bikers together. It's like really, really difficult. But yeah, the exciting thing is we're going into 7 next level, and we'll get to see how 7 elevator gets handled. 7 elevator is the, by far with Axel, most difficult part of the game. It's kind of tough with I would say probably with every character, other than with current strats. I think 7 elevator, it's tough knowing if 7 elevator is harder than 8 is with max. I mean, it is still more difficult, but 8 is so difficult with max. Whereas with Axel, 8's definitely a lot easier to get through than 7 is. Pulling one of the Electros. Pretty normal. This is how you're gonna see most people playing this. I mean, there's not a lot of people who have a no death, but I'm just saying, like, if you're going for a life run, this is how most people are gonna be. The amount that they're pulling, that King Iopa is pulling, is about the same that most people are going to be pulling. You can't... This last Electra here, you have to pull with the guys. I don't think you can pull her by yourself. She actually might be able to... You might be able to pull her by yourself, but we just don't do it, and most people don't do it. Then, a lot of the time, unfortunately, people learn how to play... when they're learning how to play by watching someone like King Iopa, who's not actually playing it the easiest or safest way. So they're, they're like, wait a second, you can pull, like on level 3, you can pull the Jack and the Electras by themselves. But most people don't know that because they're watching someone like King Iopa who just pulls them all together all the time. So it does, anyway, I usually tell people if you're trying to learn the game, you want to watch like an older video from somebody. Like if you're watching me, you want to watch actually like maybe my first video. Like watch my most current video, and then also watch like my first video to see like the difference in how I'm playing and how I'm pulling. I'm pulling a lot, a lot slower. Alright, we're into 7. This is a common place for everyone to say this is where the run starts, because everything else is like practice mode. 7 is so much more difficult than the rest of the game. It's like where the leaps in difficulty are in this game is level 3, the Jack Electra section, there's a leap in difficulty there. Then the next leap in difficulty is on 4 at the elevator, where like, like it goes, if the game is like a 5 difficulty, it goes to like a 7 difficulty at that Jack Electra section, and then it goes to like an 8 or a 9 at the 4 elevator. Other than the 7 elevator is where it goes to like an 11. You know, it just goes off the chart in difficulty. Yeah. How many times did you die on this section, on 7-1, King Iopa? We gotta run, yeah. Yeah, the 1 credit run days. The progression that we've taken with this game has kind of been, you know, it's been kind of crazy, but it's just the way it is. You're always starting at some point, you know, like if you're learning how to skateboard, you're learning how to, like, you know, ollie. Is that what it's called? Ollie? Like, you're not gonna ollie onto, like, on your first try onto, like, you know, a bench or a table. Your first ollie, you're gonna maybe get like an inch off the ground, and that's kind of the way that everything goes, and it's the way that this game went too, where I was like, we just took it by the inches. We did our 1 credits. We did our 1 credits with every character. We did our 9 pluses. We did our 9 pluses with every character, and then we went into like No Death, and it was just it was kind of, I don't know. It's just the way it is. I think the difference with the No Death, though, is that doing a 1 credit is something you know you can do. You're just kind of like, I know I can do this. I know I can learn how to do it. Doing a 9 plus, you still know you can do it, but it's a little bit less. And doing a No Death it's like you don't actually know if you can do it or not. Alright, so now this is a little dangerous, getting both of them, but we've got that ninja down far enough where just a little bit of patience and some proper moves, you know, and just backing off the Electra there is smart. You either want to grand upper, if she's on the treadmill and you're not, you either want to grand upper her immediately so you can hit her, or you want to just get the heck away from her because she's going to hit you. So full health, 7 elevator, here we go, scary part. You know, once again, we just see this phenomenal grouping by King Iopa. I don't know what happened there, or if that was like an intentional getting knocked down, because it helps group the guys better, but it just didn't work out for him. Or if we just had like a complete brain shut off, which does happen sometimes, where you just like, your brain just shuts off and you don't know why you're not doing anything, but yeah, it does happen. Or you just make a mistake. Yeah, that's really all there is to it. And like, you don't want to make a mistake on this section. You still want to be relatively full health, but it's very difficult getting through this section without losing health. Like, it's incredibly difficult. And it's frustrating because it's one of the like give me sections where you just feel like I should just have this. And we're doing backwards jumps. There's no real way to always get the guys to funnel down below, other than to just try and get them to funnel down below. So backwards jump kick is about the least amount of damage you can do to them. So it gives you the highest chance that eventually you're going to get the guys down below. And now we're going into, this is the jet setup. One of my very small contributions to this level is that I came up with this ridiculous strategy. It's probably the worst strategy too on the 7 elevator, but we haven't figured out one that's better. It's so inconsistent, it's so difficult, it's so ridiculous, but this is it. We don't have a better way of doing this section than this. And there's so many problems with it, which is the guys don't want to go down below. The jet doesn't want to cooperate. You don't have any control over it. Like, look at this guy. He's not doing anything that you think he's going to do. And you can lose it right there. You can lose the whole thing. And now you got to deal with all the guys with the jet, and it just, even if you get through it, you might not have enough health to get through the rest of it. So here we're actually trying to get the guy to go down below, and then we can deal with these guys. And it's a little bit safer. So long as you're comfortable with it, it is safer killing those guys first before you're dealing with the jet. I think Donovan was the one who was telling me to do that during my runs. And I started doing it during my runs. So long as I was comfortable with it, or I was feeling good, I would just get those guys killed first and then move on. Now I think we're going to use the Gale Dog strat. This is a Gale Dog setup. I don't know if you messed up the second half of it. You're supposed to grab that samurai that jump kicked him and then throw him in everybody, and that just sets them up perfectly, or if this is just the way King Iopa's comfortable doing it. Hey, how's it going, Mario? Today is Banana Split Day. Here I probably would have grabbed Turkey, but that's just me. I don't know if you need to do that with Axel. Yeah, and then your Scoop came up with the sword strat. On his video he was using Max. Then we figured out how to apply it to Axel. It's basically the exact same thing. But yeah, there's like a slant. I believe it's on both sides. I know you can't see to the left, but there's a slant at least to the right. And what the enemies do is, it looks like they're either trying to move backwards or they're trying to move up, but they can't do that. So instead they just stay in place. So the guys on the left are all moving backwards or up. So long as you hit them at a certain distance, they hit the wall, and then they'll be like, okay, now let's just move backwards a little bit to get away from this guy's sword, or to get away from this guy's attack because he's too close. So your positioning does have to kind of be within that red box. Other than here, one of the things you can do is just start inching forward, slashing, and then eventually you'll hit, and then you can just hit until you kill a guy and move back. But I don't think King Iopa does that. Instead, throws the sword, but once again, the guy's going to be down there, so like, yeah, let's just grab. It just, a lot of it is like, what am I comfortable with? What strat am I comfortable with? And how am I comfortable playing the game? Am I comfortable dealing with these guys? And maybe I'll just get rid of the sword because I'm not 100% on how I should be using the sword in this situation where I gotta go up and actually be smacking these guys. But I do know that I can handle these guys, you know, in these fashions. There's a King Iopa strat, is the flip over into the defensive special to pull everybody to one side. And that's a strat that I got pretty good at, but I didn't get this good at it. But I got pretty good at it. And it is a strat to use if you don't have sword. If you don't have sword, that's the best strat to use, and you can pin everybody, like 5 of these guys against the wall with it. Alright, and we got the little guys killed. And now it's just, can we group all these guys? There's a dodge through the knife with the grand upper. So it's like, you have to do 2 things at once. Good movement, but a little off on positioning and a little off on timing of the grand upper. But it's really difficult during this when you've got 3 guys all doing something different, like these guys are, to keep them all in line. And then once you got them, so long as you don't lose an input, you got them. But this is an input drop heavy section. And then you're pulling knives, and it's safe when you've got defensive special, very easy to defensive special through this. It's a little bit harder to jump through it, but you can still also jump through it. 6 knives for the robot section. Now we got the robot glitch where the robots don't have a hitbox on their mace or laser. Hey Shim Gabriel, how's it going? Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I think in my Axel run, there was... I don't actually know what King Iopa's doing here. It's just Axel contemplating. In my Axel run, I don't know if it was but there's a chance you can get through the 7 elevator and not even use the turkey. The strats that we have are good enough that if they're all working out like perfectly, which they never do, but if they all work out perfectly, you can get through 7 elevator without losing probably almost any health, other than maybe just the specials that you're using. Yeah, he just chills. Had to catch his breath, I know. Yeah. Let's see if he lets the clock run or if he, yeah, that's another thing you start doing too. You just kind of, you let the clock run a little bit rather than like hitting start to just run the numbers down, just to catch your breath and like recenter a little bit for 8. The scariest thing you can do in this game is to beat level 7. Because now you got to get through level 8. It's like you got through the hardest part of the entire game. The thing that everyone considered to be impossible. Like before we were going for no deaths, the reason why everyone was like no death will never ever happen is because of level 7. So it's like, okay, now you got through it, and now you got to get through level 8, which is still outlandishly difficult, but it's not impossible like 7 was. And you might only have like within, you know, the months that you're playing, like if you play this game for a year, you might only have a couple no death 7s like within that year. So like you're like, I need to get through 8 now. 8 is like, yeah, it's so stressful. If you want to have nightmares, what you do is beat level 7 and then fail on 8. That's how you have nightmares. It's a real good way to feel terrible about yourself. Yeah, you're okay with it. You get to a point, that happens too, where you just get to a point where you're like, whatever. I mean, you know, I certainly got there with Max. Certainly got there with Max, but you still don't want it to happen. Smart. Alright, full health getting through there. On to 8 elevator. This is, I would say, with Axel, as far as how good you can get with Axel, in my opinion, I think the hardest section of the game is 7 elevator. Then I would go to 8 elevator. Then I would go to Mr. X. I think you can get to a point with Mr. X where you can get good enough that you have a higher chance of getting through Mr. X than you do of getting through 8 elevator. Yeah. But some people might feel it's the opposite. Whereas with Max, I think it's actually, you know, it's going to be 7 elevator, obviously, and then it's Mr. X, and then it's 8 elevator. So it's kind of opposite. Mr. X is very difficult with Max. Getting knocked down, which is actually good, because you're just getting everybody cornered. Too bad the Grand Upper didn't hit Zamza there. And now it's like you have to move and use your Grand Upper and do stuff in a way where Zamza's not gonna actually come at you. So when Zamza's jumping around, you can be kind of jumping or using your Grand Upper or using a defensive special to keep him off of you. When you're just standing there or kind of like moving, he's gonna come at you. But when you jump, it makes him kind of want to like duck out at certain times. Or if you're using a Grand Upper, just your iframes that you have from certain moves confuse Zamza. And that's what you're seeing, which is why Zamza just stays out of it while King Iopa is just destroying Electra. There we go, there we go, there we go. Good, yep. You can get these guys all grouped. It's not too big a deal when you get them all grouped. And it's just getting your timing down so you don't mess up. The timing's kind of interesting because if you've got, let's say, like a Donovan, then you've got Abadidi, and then a kickboxer, you're actually timing for Donovan's get up a little bit. Or you're staying far back enough that Donovan's going to get up and it gives you a split second to do your grand upper for Abadidi. Or then if you got Abadidi and kickboxer on the ground, you're actually timing it for Abadidi. Like your grand upper timing for that. So it's, you've got to prioritize your timing to who's getting up first and prioritize your positioning for who's getting up first. All the meanwhile, you have to be making sure that you're hitting everybody all at this, you know, you're getting them all in on it. Shiva is kind of a gimme fight, like a give me fight. You're gonna get it. There's always that chance that Shiva's a troll and gives you trouble, but for the most part, with Axel, Shiva's character-wise as easy as it goes. Good positioning. We're actually moving into position on Shiva intentionally so we can be here when Mr. X wakes up. Grand upper, get him smacked. Grand upper these guys, get him smacked. Grand upper, but there's Mr. X kind of doing whatever he wants to do rather than walking into you. Then Mr. X is going to have trouble getting to Axel so long as you're maintaining a certain line. You're not going all the way up to the top. You're going a little bit off the top, and it makes it difficult for Mr. X to come at you. Mr. X will want to kind of like loop up above you, but his hitbox is big enough where you can still hit him. You can see Donovan having trouble with it too as he's coming up, like he's kind of getting stuck above Axel. Hard position to find, hard position to maintain. There's a backwards grand upper. But yeah, and we're real close to getting the kill. But Mr. X is trolling. Once again, it's like, we're real close. But Mr. X is trolling. And there's the kill. And you've got like a tapple of health left. That right there is like, if Galzia comes up, or Donovan comes up and punches, I think that's a kill. I think he's dead there. So, that's all you got left. That's all you got left. And it's like if Mr. X just comes out, you'll get a grand upper and kill him. But he's not coming out. He's just waiting back there, letting you make a mistake. He's just waiting for you to make a mistake. And it's so difficult to do it, and it's why like when you end up getting hit or mess up at the beginning of the Mr. X fight, it's almost impossible to recover. Because you need that tapple of health left to just see yourself through to the end sometimes. He did it again. He did it again. Yeah. So yeah, that's King Iopa. No Death Mania with Axel. Fantastic run. It's the fastest anyone's done a No Death Mania. That's like faster than my run. Really fast run actually. And yeah, just a spectacular run. Really, just very, very high level play. Definitely better. Definitely a better player with Axel than I am, and definitely better Axel playing than I pulled off when I actually did my No Death with Axel. Are you going to be doing a Blaze No Death? Are you going for Blaze No Death? That would be crazy. Yeah. If you want me to, King Iopa, I'll post this commentary on YouTube if you want, so that people who missed it can end up catching it. Yeah.